In a world with only hot takes,
Two college friends try to cool down sports media.
join Jack and Jared every week as they tackle the biggest stories in the NFL.
And give the reasonable football analysis you won't hear anywhere else.
Welcome to 710 Sports.
Welcome back to episode 22 of 710 Sports with
Jack
and Jared. Thanks for joining us after this crazy week 13 of the NFL season. Massive games, playoff implications, playoff opponents versus other playoff opponents. Just a great overall week. Jack, how you doing?
Yeah, I mean, definitely a fun week to watch football. Definitely some big. I mean, as we wind closer and closer, the playoff implications start becoming. The playoff situation picture starts getting more and more clear. You start to really be able to pin down, like, okay, if this team wins this many games, we're like it really starts to be much easier than weeks prior, which I think is nice. Definitely things are becoming clearer in terms of talent level and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw a few surprises, maybe some others that were not quite as shocking this week, but definitely a lot of great games. We're going to talk about the biggest games from this weekend, including Bengals, Chiefs, 49ers, Dolphins, Vikings, Jets, and even more. We're also going to talk a little bit about our respective teams, the Patriots and the Cowboys, but don't worry, we're timing ourselves to keep it at a reasonable length, considering the games weren't
definitely well needed.
Yeah, the games weren't competitive for the Cowboys and the Patriots.
That too.
So we don't want to harp on that too much. We're also going to hit on some extra topics that we have at the end of the episode, assuming we have time, about QB injuries and stuff like that, some general news. Stats question, as always, to wrap it up. So I'm just going to jump right into it and get us started on the biggest game of the weekend. Give the people what they want, right, Jack?
Yes.
We got Bengals beat the Chiefs.
Giants commies. Go ahead.
Giants commies, exactly. Bengals beat the Chiefs 27-24. They outlast them, took the lead in the fourth quarter, were able to get a stop and then basically run out the clock and not give Mahomes another opportunity late in the game. This is the third time that the Bengals have beat the Chiefs in the last calendar year, twice last year in January and in the playoffs, and then now once again this season. Chiefs seem to have a kryptonite in the league, and it's Joey B and the Cincinnati Bengals. Who would have thought? Jack, what do you think about this Bengals-Chiefs game?
I mean, I thought this game, like classic two good teams. It was even a good score. I felt like if they were going to run up the table too much, it would have really felt, the defenses aren't doing much. But no, this wasn't like some sort of 70-70 sort of shootout. Not that would happen. But it was high scoring, right? 24-27 is pretty high scoring. It's two top teams. I know I had the Bengals high. I was hotter than them than you were, I know, but two very top teams. I mean, I definitely that's a note in the wrong column there. I definitely think this was a tale of I remember a lot of third and fourth. That like there are a lot of just like in a game that's this close, right? I think, as you said, the Bengals have beat them three times this calendar year. I think all of those times have been the same score. They were at least the same differential. They were at least, I think they were all 3-point games. And it just gets so close. Stuff like the Travis Kelce fumble around midfield, right? When the Bengals, I think they either went to get a field goal or they went and fizzled out like a 4th and 1 and didn't convert it or something, whatever it was. And while the Chiefs had a touchdown lead, I think it was a touchdown lead, or at least a field goal lead. And like they get this big fumble, middle of the field, massive. I think the Bengals then go turn that into a touchdown. There's so many little things that if the Bengals lost, there's one play I wanted to highlight specifically because it was a 4th and 1/3 of a yard sort of thing. It was fourth, less than a yard, maybe not fourth in inches, but like less than half a yard. And the Bengals scheme up this sort of tight end run. And you might think, that's like a fullback run, but like with the tight end as the fullback. No, some sort of tight end sweep. They were gonna have an east-west sort of run to the tight end, and it gets blown up instantly, and they lose a yard, turn the ball over. And this is on 4th and 1/3 at like the Kansas City 4. And
Yeah,
when I saw
they're
that,
right
I was
there
like,
at the red zone.
yeah.
Yeah,
And when I think the
basically at
Chiefs were
end zone.
leading, and this is the I believe it's second half. I should have written that down. But like this is an important moment. But nope, they do this third, fourth down play calling that I see so much. We'll talk about the Patriots later, but yeah, that I mean, there's just so many big moments in a game like this between two teams that are so good. I know you didn't see as much of this. What did I know you saw at the end though? What are some of your thoughts?
Yeah, I saw the end and I watched all the highlights to get a feel for this game. And at least from that perspective, not watching it during the game, I wonder if the game was even as close as it looks. To me, it seemed like Bengals had a lot of opportunities that they kind of squandered during the game. They moved the ball, I would say, a lot better than the Chiefs did. And then when they would get down to the to the red zone, they would settle for field goals. And so both teams seem to be running the ball pretty good, but the Bengals seem to be controlling the game, in my opinion, from what I saw. And I didn't see the Chiefs really have an answer to stopping them in the air or on the ground. It just happens that, the Bengals threw a quick out, like a 7 route to, I think, Higgins or whatever the receiver was. He dropped it in the end zone early on.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, that's also another big. Yeah,
they kicked the field goal, and those are the types of things where you say, yeah, Kansas City will come through with this because the Bengals aren't capitalizing. But even despite that, they still win because they had such production on the offensive side. And then you bring up the 4th and 1. That could have been a touchdown. And now you ask yourself, hey, like you could have been up. I don't know. This could have been a 10, 14-point game instead of 3, in my opinion. That's just what I saw.
No, yeah. I think I'd say I'd agree. I mean, the run games, the two teams especially, like we're both very good. I was surprised. Perrine, I don't know if I can say his first name, Samaje Perrine, perhaps.
Perrine?
Yeah, on the Bengals. Perrine? Is it?
Is that his name?
It's not Perrine. Either way, running back of the Bengals backup because Mixon's out. 106 yards, 5 yards a carry. Pretty good. Like that's better than that's good. It's better than they average most of the time. So for it and yeah, I mean Jamar Chase being back, Joe Burrow was 25 or 31. They almost had 100 more yards of offense.
Chase looked good. Chase looked good, and
only one turnover, and it was that fumble. In the whole game. In the whole game was that Kelce fumble. Very clean game. It was something to watch.
I said I like the Bengals to win the Super Bowl this year, preseason. Okay, preseason. Then at the 8-week in point or whatever, I went completely off them. I was like, they're not even going to get to the playoffs because I didn't see anything from the offensive line. No. Now all of a sudden they want to be able to protect.
I know. Yeah.
I don't. It's just crazy. I don't know.
Turned it on.
If they can give Joe Burrow time in the pocket, I mean, look at Chase is electric. He really is.
Yeah.
So and if the run game's going to work, oh my God.
And I mean they just have they have so many offensive weapons that. I mean, you got T. Higgins is another. Right? He's also a wide receiver 1, level talent. Like it's like they have 2 wide receiver 1s, and that's like. And I know who's their tight. Is it Tyler Boyd? Is that their tight end or another? No, that's all sorts. I don't even know their tight end. But anyway, yeah. I mean, just so much offensive talent on that team. I mean, definitely will be exciting to see them. This win really helps their playoff campaign. I know they play some illustrious teams like the Patriots later in the season, but still, definitely helps that, especially with the Ravens. I know they didn't lose, but losing to the Jaguars. But yeah, I mean,
Lamar's hurt.
I mean, anything else? Yeah, Lamar hurt. That's what I meant to say. Anything else in this?
No, I was just going to say what's interesting is now Kansas City no longer the number 1 seed in the AFC. I believe the Bills take that.
Oh, yes, you're right.
With the tiebreaker over Kansas City. So. But all of a sudden, if the Bengals keep winning, they're going to have a chance to not only win their division, but also be up there in that conversation of fighting for the 1 seed. They're 1 game back of it right now. Yeah. So it's coming down to the wire there, and it's a shame that I really came off that Bengals pick. I'm kind of holding on to the fact that it was my preseason pick. I'm holding on to that.
You could have rode that into the sunset, you know.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how
Patriots,
they keep looking moving forward.
It is mathematically possible for the Patriots to still get the first round bye. You know that mathematics said it. Anyway, let's move on.
That's good.
I mean, let's move on. Yeah, I mean, last thing. The thing you said, I think the thing you said about that this game could have been very different. I think is a very interesting. Like it could have been even Bengals winning by more. I think it's a very good, very interesting point. Stuff like that, job touchdown pass, but then also for the Chiefs, stuff like that fumble. It just that this was definitely a game of big plays.
There you go. You're absolutely right.
Moments. Yeah, there you go.
So moving on to 49ers, beat the Dolphins pretty handedly, 33-17. This is a little bit of an inflated scoreline because the game
a strip
was
sack at the end. Right?
Yeah, the game was a 6-point game late in the fourth. Turnover on downs led to a field goal by the 49ers, and then a strip sack immediately after for a return for a TD. Put it at whatever it is, whatever that was, 16 or something. Yeah. But this game was pretty close all the way down to the wire. I watched this entire game until that field goal. Then I went to the Bengals game. And yeah, you know, that I don't know. My takeaway from this game basically is that I think in general, I might have been wrong about the 49ers and the Christian McCaffrey trade. I'm willing to admit that it quite possibly does put them over the top because we haven't seen the defense. Well, we've started to see the defense really come alive in the last couple of weeks. The numbers that they're putting up, I mean, forcing shutouts and everything.
Yeah,
they weren't healthy, so we didn't see it earlier in the season. But now with Bosa back, he's all of a sudden the sack leader after missing some games, and so the defense is absolutely stout. The offense is hard to stop.
Christian McCaffrey, how many yards did he have that game? He had over 100 between on the ground. I mean, at first he was not very productive on the ground, efficiency wise. But what did he end? He ended the game with 66 yards rushing, 80 yards receiving, 146 yards total from scrimmage, and that was, I mean, yeah.
And he's just one piece of the puzzle.
One touchdown.
You know, exactly. They've got Debo, Ayuk, Kittle. And so, you know,
they got the potentially best fullback in football. Kyle Juszczyk caught a touchdown.
Yeah. So it's like, look at the team, right? And then you say, okay, but what about Jimmy G? And if Jimmy G had played this game out, first of all, they probably would have won by more. And you have to start to accept the fact, or I would have had to accept the fact that, hey, not only is this team a playoff team, not only are they good, but they did swing big with the McCaffrey trade, and it seems to be worth it because they look like contenders. Now they look like that they could, they could go to the Super Bowl. They could win a Super Bowl. But I mean, I don't know if you can still say that on your third string QB.
Broken foot, I mean, it just, and it's not even like a knee injury, like it's not even like a re-aggravation of some prior injury. Because it's always, Jimmy G has all these injuries, but this is like a broken foot. Is just a bit more random. It's a bit more like what do you do? I don't know. I
don't know. I mean, he is like
string.
He's hurt half of the years that he plays. I mean, let's be honest. So this is why he was the backup to start really. And that's why they wanted to get off of him. But now you're on your third string guy, Purdy. He comes in and he honestly doesn't play that bad. He doesn't. Yeah. But I would argue team. You and I could not play that bad with all that talent. I mean, legitimately. I know it's toxic.
I'll just get the ball out, get the ball in McCaffrey's hands, screen every play, and I just throw it before whoever's on the Dolphins D line just annihilates you.
But that's the thing. So much of that offense is not only like the run game, right? Like with McCaffrey, but also with Debo sometimes. But all this backfield motion screens, wide receiver screens, jailbreak stuff, running back screens, 5-yard like drag with all this stuff, right? Pick plays and it's all scheme. And obviously, I'm not saying that you and I could just step in there and do that, but I don't know. I mean, I'm sure like athletically, I don't know how much different we look than Purdy. I mean, Purdy is he's not the biggest guy. I'm sure he's super strong and he works out. I'm just saying, this dude. I'm just saying, if you didn't know, I mean, he scored a decent amount of points. You know, at the end, I mean, like he threw an interception. But I'm just saying, like,
but yeah,
on one hand, Jimmy G. If you look at the 49ers with all this talent, with Jimmy G versus without, big difference. And I there's no way you can argue with that. He contributes to winning, and he might be just enough to put you over. But
even if it's just the intangibles, whatever it is, something about him.
Right. Yeah. And it could be the intangibles. It's because he's a good leader and people love him and whatever it is. But
I mean, you're missing with him gone. I know we're getting ahead a bit with this, but yeah, I mean, Brock, this game, it's a massive win for them, but losing Garoppolo is such a massive loss. And at this point, you know, there's just a lot. Like, do you think if they had Jimmy G and if that was going to be, he just, you know, even if it's a concussion, as bad as that is, like, he'd be back in a couple of weeks, I would say, yeah, this team should be this team could easily make the NFC Championship. They could make the Super Bowl. Like, this team is something serious here. Without Jimmy G, it's hard to say that, especially until we see more from Brock Purdy. Like, until we see more games. I mean,
right.
But yeah.
So to transition to the Miami side, because I want to address, I know what people are thinking.
Yes, you should. Yeah.
I came out here and said Miami might be the second best team in the league. Okay, because I called them Kansas City Light. Okay, a couple of weeks ago. And then they come out here and they can't get a dub against a third string QB. Okay.
Purdy.
I hear it. All right. I hear it. But actually, you know, besides the strip sack to end, they were in position, with down 6 in the fourth quarter to win. But I said this last week. I said this about the 49ers. If they can get pressure on any QB, like we've seen them in the past do, same thing with Dallas, any team really. If you're going to pressure the QB that much, no one, like, there's not going to be a team that can handle it. Like, if you're going to get into a passing situation and you don't have time, you don't have 2 seconds to pass, then you've already blown up the game. So that goes for, we've seen it. We've seen Patrick Mahomes. We've seen Joe Burrow not be able to handle this type of thing because they literally cannot pass. And that's what we saw. Tua was pressured a lot. He was sacked a lot. He seemed flustered. He missed some easy passes, threw a couple of bad picks. Had the strip sack. He was just getting killed all day. And the fact of the matter is, him and that passing offense, which includes Tyreek and Waddle and Gesicki and whatever, all of them, that's the most important part of the Miami Dolphins. That is their strength. They have to fire at all cylinders. And if they aren't going to be able to protect Tua, then no, they are not Kansas City Light. Like, they aren't, and they weren't, you know, so I just wasn't anticipating this much pressure. That's all.
Tua turned the ball over. I know it's toxic. It just it's just such a funny nickname. And I don't mean that in any as much of a Dolphins hater as I am. I don't mean that in like a negative way or anything. Like, although it seems, I mean, obviously it's a bit negative, but I don't mean it like I don't mean it in a toxic way. I'm not trying to like be toxic with it. It just, I mean this game, like, I think, like, of all the teams in the league that are like good teams, losing to the 49ers without their starting quarterback is one of those you can kind of accept, because as much as Jimmy G like wills victory, as much as victory appears in front of Jimmy G, as much as whatever it is, like, and it is his play as well, but the 49ers are not a QB dominant team. It's not like, oh, you played the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes got hurt on the first drive. It's not like that. Or you play the Bills and Josh Allen gets hurt and then they still beat. Like, it's not like one of those and then they still beat you. This is a team where it's like it's that's why they drafted the guy, I can't remember his name because he hasn't played in so long, Trey Lance. Like, that's why they drafted him. So why they went all in on him is because they've been a QB away, quote unquote, for so long. Right. Like,
it's their weakest link.
Team that, yeah, exactly. So like this is more like if a team like the Patriots, I don't know, lost. I can't even think of anyone who's any sort of link. So never mind. That's a bad example. It'd be like if the Cowboys lost I don't know.
Micah.
Yeah. No, but I think Micah's like the best player on their team, though.
Yeah.
I'm
you're
talking,
saying Jimmy G.
I'm talking,
You're saying
I'm
Jimmy
talking,
G.
yeah, like I'm saying compared to Jimmy G, it would be like if the Cowboys lost. I mean, Gallup maybe. Like he's a great player, right? He's not a bad player, but it's like, well, you still have the amazing defense. You still have both running backs. You still have your O line. You still have Dak. You still have CeeDee Lamb. Like
Right.
you still have so much even on the same side of the ball. I know I said defense in there, but you have so much even on the same side of the ball that it's not the end of the world.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, we'll see. Let's move on to Vikings Jets.
Wait, I gotta pause really. I gotta pause.
More.
Just one little thing. I texted you about this. They were down 6. 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Miami has the ball on their own 18, and it's 4th and 1 on their own 18 with 10 minutes left, down only 6, and they go for it. They go for it. And on that same drive that they end up turning the ball over on downs at the 4.
Analytics.
No. This is getting out of hand.
I know. I'm sorry. I said that just to trigger you. Keep going.
No. This is legitimately. I'm not anti-analytics. I'm anti-idiotic. Okay. What? You're only down 6. You're afraid of Purdy? What are we doing? Punt the ball. You're down 6. There's 10 minutes left in this game. Punt the ball, and no one's talking about it because they got it. But it was like a bootleg, and they had actually a guy open in the drag right in front of Tua. Tua could have ran for the 1 yard, and Tyreek was free like 5 to 10 yards down the line, but he was getting covered up, and they passed to him, and he got hit. He got blown up and still caught the ball. When I was like, Tua, just run that. Like, don't even pass that. Just run that. Super crazy. Mike McDaniels, I like Mike McDaniels, but that guy, I don't know. That's just a terrible call, in my opinion. And no one's talking about it because it doesn't matter. They lost anyway, but I had to say it. I just had to bring it up because this is going to keep coming up. People are going to keep doing stupid stuff like this.
Third and fourth down, most important down. This third and fourth down stuff. Oh.
So now, sorry, go ahead.
So now, Vikings Jets. Vikings beat the Jets. Mike White and the Jets 27-22. Mike White attempts how many was it? 57 passes in this game.
Yeah,
they had Michael White attempt 57 passes. That is a lot to put on a guy who, as cool, as cool as he is, as much as like he came coming out having these massive games, and he did, like he had those 2 picks, but he threw for 369 yards. Like that's right. If you're asking Mike White to throw for more than 369 yards, you got an issue. The Jets outgained the Vikings by 200 yards.
Oh yeah.
It was 486 to 287, almost to the dot, almost exactly 200 more yards. And I mean, but that's to say how close this game was. But I didn't see those picks. I watched part of this game. I don't remember the specific where the picks were. I know at least I feel like one of them was a tipped ball. I think,
yes, the first one was tipped.
I know we said I think over text. Well, weeks from now you won't know that it's tipped. You won't care. But still, like for the sake of this episode, one of those is a tipped ball. But I mean, yeah, this game, I mean, again, I said this about one of the other weeks when the Patriots played the Vikings. If you told me that Mike White was going to throw for 369 yards and they were going to have their top running back have 90 yards, 6 per carry, they were going to outgain by 200 yards, I would have said guaranteed win. Jets win by 14. Maybe I wouldn't have gone that far, but I didn't watch towards the end of this game. I was busy during then, and I have not watched the highlights of this game because I don't like the Jets. But
it's shocking. I agree. It's shocking that the Jets lost this game because they really did move the ball at will against the Vikings, like so many other offenses this year. And the problem was the Vikings truly are the epitome of bend, don't break defense. Vikings were scored 20 points, I think, in the first half. I think it was 20-3 going into half. And they only scored 7 in the second half, so 1 TD. But the Jets' first 5 scores were field goals. They scored. It was 15-20 at one point. 5 field goals, and I mean, I'm talking not like 50-yard field goals. I'm talking they would get down the field. They'd get down to like the 10, the 15, the 20-yard line, and they'd get stopped, and they'd kick a field goal, and then they'd get stopped, and they'd kick and it was just odd because you see all these yards. They would break off massive passes, huge runs. They had that rookie running back run out to the left and get off a chunk play for 50 yards. But no TD because they didn't actually score a TD on any of those big plays. The Vikings basically bent but didn't break. They did not give up the big play. They gave up the big play, but they didn't give up the big TD. And all the way to the last 2 minutes, the Jets have the ball in the red zone. They turn it over on downs. They then stop the Vikings because the Vikings were grinding it out on offense. The Jets, Jets defensive line and Sauce Gardner and the whole defense is good. So they were grinding. Those 27 points were hard fought points. I'm talking 3 of 4 down drives. But they stopped them with 2 minutes left. And then they use all their timeouts and they get the ball back again and they get down to like the 20 again. And Mike White throws into double coverage and throws a pick in the end zone. Like so many Vikings games this season, a pick in the end zone ends it for them, and they win. It's just a crazy situation. It was a crazy game, and Mike White played good. And I'm going to harp on this because I've harped on it before, but Mike White will be a backup somewhere next year for some reason when he is definitely should be the starter in New York, but they won't because they're gonna bring Zach Wilson back. They 100% will,
and they're too good. They're too good for a high draft pick, so they probably will. They'll probably try to run it back with Zach.
Yeah,
because
so
it's not like they can be the Texans and get a top QB.
He's gonna be a backup for the Jets, he's gonna go somewhere else and be a backup.
If Mike White throws. Yes, they lost. He threw 2 interceptions, no touchdowns. But as we've talked about, was an issue with the whole team. He ran for a touchdown, apparently.
Yeah.
If he has a game like this, 1 less pick, maybe call that tipped ball not a pick. 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 300 something yards, but you're kicking a lot of field with it. I don't know. But if you have games of this tier, how many 350-yard plus games does he have at a total? He's got a lot as a percentage. I don't know what it is, but he's only started so many games, and when he comes in, he just does this. He gets a lot of yards, whatever it is. Zach Wilson wasn't getting this many yards, and you could say whatever. Oh, Mike White check down machine, and in a lot of ways he is, but it's working, right? Zach Wilson.
He passed the ball downfield.
I know. I saw that because the announcers were saying that. We were talking about this, but I would hope if they make the playoffs, if he performs well, I hope for his sake he has a starting position. Just for the story. I mean, I don't know.
No, I 100%. For some respect. Just put some respect on. Look at Geno Smith. Look at I'm just saying, look at Gardner Minshew backing up Jalen Hurts, which is great for the Eagles.
Yeah.
Fantastic for the Eagles. If anything were to ever happen, God forbid, to Jalen Hurts. But Minshew, Lawrence took Minshew's job? Are you really? Come on now.
Listen.
Come on now. I mean,
it just is not easy.
Okay, so we want to hit up these last couple of games that I want to talk about.
Yeah, we'll kind of breeze by these. Eagles beat the Titans 35-10. I didn't watch this game because I would have taken the Eagles to win, even though they've had 1 or 2 kind of slightly shakier victories against teams like the Colts. They lost to the Commanders. Granted, they played the week before, last week, but. I mean, I definitely would have taken them to beat the Titans. I'm surprised it was this dominant. I don't know. How much do you know about this game, Jared?
Yeah, I watched the highlights of this game, and I was watching it kind of during it because I was watching Red Zone in that 1 o'clock hour. I mean, the only stuff I have, the notes I have on this game is that we know what these teams 300.
Are. Hurts didn't even run.
No,
380 yards over in the air. Well, that's pretty good.
Hurts was done with 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I mean, how many times this season that they're just they're just sitting starters in the fourth quarter because they're blowing teams out. And this isn't like they're playing the Texans. This is the Titans. They're
it's the 7-4 before they lost Titans.
Right, they're a playoff team, but my whole point is that, like, what else do you have to see from these teams to know who they are? Jeez. You know that the Eagles, how good they are, and they're basically unstoppable in every aspect of their game. AJ Brown was feasting on a good Tennessee Titans defense. The Philadelphia defensive line was feasting on Ryan Tannehill. I was crazy.
And like looking at this, I mean, in terms of the sack count, what's that? I'm counting 4 or 5 something sacks.
I think it was 6. I think it was 6.
Like, also in terms of their run stopping, I know they added Ndamukong Suh. I know Fletcher Cox is on the team. I know the rookie. I really liked him. Jordan Davis. I think I'm a big D line sort of guy, you know. But like they all just I don't know if he played, but like Tannehill had more rushing yards than Derrick Henry. Like what? It's just off scrambles. But like they were stuffing the run. I mean, obviously at a point you get down so much you can't run, but like still over 11 carries, Derrick Henry had less yards than Tannehill. Sus. I don't know what to say.
No, it's like sus. It's. I mean, we know what Derrick Henry is.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. For how good Derrick Henry is, for him to get stifled that much, like for that, like defensively, I mean, it just
this team is seriously good, man. This team, there's just nothing else. And I'm talking about, look at when they play good teams. Look at what they did to the Cowboys. People love the Cowboys right now because they score 50 or whatever. Look what they made the Cowboys look pathetic. I mean, they made the defense just like they neutralized the defense.
This is kind of a natural segue into, dare I say, the hottest team in football, the Washington Commanders. They've been winning games. They beat the Eagles, only team to beat the Eagles, right?
Yes.
And you know who? And they tie the New York Giants. In a real spicy game. You love to see both teams spend 10 minutes in overtime, no score. No scores to be had. It's a classic brawl between Taylor Heineke and Daniel Jones. Again, I think it was Daniel Jones the top rusher. I bet he was. Which is
I think Saquon ran all right.
Which is part of the. Oh yeah. I think he did too. It was like, I mean, it's a 2020 game in overtime. Like, there's obviously you're not gonna, it's not gonna be some sort of back-breaking yardage performance. I feel like oftentimes, but when you have a tie in overtime, but I mean, that. Any thoughts on this game other than the Commanders continuing their lossless streak?
Yeah, I think that they're hot and everything, but this kind of cooled them down a little bit. A tie to the Giants is a bit of a kind of brings you back to the earth a little bit.
I think you mean the 7-4 New York Football Giants.
Yeah, well, I don't know. We'll see.
There you go.
Yeah.
You got no response there.
I don't know. I don't know. No one trusts. Come on, no one trusts the Giants at this point. It's I actually had somebody when we posted the video about our Miami imposters. I think somebody commented that Miami was the New York Giants of the AFC, which I thought was really funny.
I remember seeing that. Yeah. Hey.
And
I agree.
Hey, you know what?
I remember that comment.
But maybe that guy's right. I don't know. But yeah, that says it all there. But I think that
I'm surprised the Commanders tied and not win. I'll have to give you that point. But
and the playoff
keeps
picture,
them both in the playoffs.
Yeah, the playoff picture is so much more interesting. So Seahawks
ties really spice it up.
Seahawks technically jumped them.
Yeah. Seahawks are now in.
But if you look at basically, there's really no one in the NFC besides these three teams fighting for the two open wild card spots.
They're fighting for two spots here, yeah.
If you figure Dallas is in, which I figure Dallas is in.
Unless, Lions aren't out yet.
No.
Lions are not out yet. We should have a segment. We don't have...
Vegas.
Lions are favored. They're favored against the Vikings.
You believe that?
I know it's at home. we had the same thing in our minds simultaneously there. Vikings are favored at home here against a Vikings team that's winning one-score games against all odds. Last year they did this. The Vikings did this, but instead of winning the games against all odds, they were losing games against all odds in these one-score situations. But hey,
Yes,
Lions are hot. Lions are kind of hot, right? Won like 4 of the last 5 games. They lost to the
Bills
of all teams, right? Lost to the Bills on Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving tradition, really, for the Lions to lose.
Absolutely.
Super funny Family Guy, not sponsored, bit on that. I'll send it to you, Jared, if you don't know what I'm talking about. I'm writing this down, Lions Family Guy. You'll find it, I'm sure. Yep, it's right there. Oh, Jesus. I've completely derailed myself. I'm sorry. Funny. One of the funniest jokes I've ever seen. Right. I'm reciting it live. It's Brian's there, the dog. He's about to get eaten by some lions. And then he says, hey, shouldn't you guys be out in Detroit losing a football game? There you go. I think it's on Thanksgiving. I think it's part of the joke. Wait, I think the joke is that it's like a Thanksgiving episode. I think it's a Thanksgiving episode. And he says it. Anyway, okay, we're moving on. Lions are hot, so I think they're in the playoff picture, but there you go. Let's move on from that. Unless you have more. I've completely I derailed myself. I'm gonna just watch the video now. Live on recording. Okay, keep going. Roll the content, Jared. Keep whatever. So anything else on the Giants?
Great.
Commanders?
That was excellent. I have nothing else. That's the end of that segment. That is we're gonna roll right into a conversation between a Cowboys fan and a Patriots fan, and in true fashion of these fandoms, it's gonna be one person just talking directly at the other, and then the other person will have their turn, and no one will listen to each other. It's like a true Cowboys and Patriots
we won't in any way address what the other one is saying. It'll be one person rants about the Cowboys for 5 minutes, one rants about the Patriots for 5 minutes, and you guys get to listen.
Yeah,
you get to listen to me regurgitate sports media takes that I hear from my local radio station.
So do you want to go? No. Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
What do you want to do, Jared? Do you want to go first?
I don't want to go first. Actually.
I'll go first. I'm going first then.
Perfect. Okay, so let me know when you're going to go. I got the timer right here. Okay.
Okay. You know what? We're gonna wait. I'm gonna stall for 10 seconds so I can sync up with the time that we're recording, so I can have it all synced. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Now. Okay. So Patriots, massive loss, right? And not one, obviously, even for the Patriots playoff picture, right? We were all expecting this. This is the Bills. We're kind of you got to expect this to an extent. I would not have called the Patriots to win this game, but the way they lost was pretty devastating. The fact that it wasn't close, just the whole situation of the game. Watching it, it's a primetime game. Everyone saw it. Watching it was just not good. The Bills' run game being a big piece of this. I'm going to go through my notes. The Bills' run game on a Patriots defense that's supposed to be so good. I was surprised they were running that well for a team I didn't think would run that well. I know I think traded for a running back by the trade deadline. And I know from the Colts, I think Hines or something, but still a lot of rushing, and not even Josh Allen running. Like obviously the Josh Allen running factor. I mean, like their ground game was going pretty well. So time of possession, and this was before the Bills really blew it open. Obviously, once they blow it open, the defense gets tired. So this was like the start of the game. Like this is not, we're not talking garbage time running being easy. I think here's the big point. Mac Jones, I do not think Mac Jones is the problem. I know there's a lot of talk about this. I think the problem is the right. It's not, I'm not saying it's not a problem. Maybe whether he is a problem or not, I don't know, but he's certainly not the solution. And I'll give you that, but I don't think he's the problem. If I were to list, I was thinking about this. If I were to list the top 3 problems with this team, I don't think Mac Jones is one of them. That doesn't mean he's not a problem, but I don't think he's top 3. Offensive coaching, it's what everyone's talking about, right? Then Matt Patricia, they got defensive guy and special teams guy, 2 failed head coaches who just like pooped all over their respective teams, the Lions and the Giants. Oh, both of them. They're the two dudes coaching offense. We got defensive coordinator, failed Lions head coach, when he had Matthew Stafford, no less. We got him rocking the Patriots play calling, and it shows. I remember I texted you this. This is what the Patriots offensive would be like. Okay, here we go. 1st and 10. Give me a halfback screen that fails, batted down. Okay, you know what we're gonna do? Give me a wide receiver like sweep around past 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, has to like run. This dude has to run on the play. This dude being their cornerback. They got a nickelback out there. He's got to go run, and he gets 2 yards on this catch. Okay, great. And then give me a 6-yard out route that wouldn't even pass the chains if it completed. That's what I want. Next drive. Okay, what happens next drive? Give me 2-yard inside run. Not even 2 yards. Give me 1 yard inside run. Let's follow it up. Same exact play for -1 yards. And then guess what? Give me another 6-yard left side out route that would not even get the first down if he caught it. That's what I want to see. It was 2 drives in a row that made me go, what is happening? It's the same thing over and over again. But that's offensive play calling. I think that's an issue. Offensive line has been an issue. There was a play action. It was play action. Mac Jones, both edge rushers got off their blocks instantly, phased through their blocks, and sacked Mac Jones before he even got to look downfield. From both sides, like not like, oh, one dude gets out and you should be able to run away from him. Even if you run away from both sides, I mean that the O-line, that's an issue. Third issue, I would say, I don't think I'll say wide receiver talent. There's receiving. There's enough at least average guys. I don't think that's the issue, but I think there's a lot of giving up on play. There's something suspect going on, and it's even among. Oh, I only got 1 minute left, and it's even among the everything. Just people giving up on plays. The touchdown that Josh Allen threw, giving up. Devontae Parker, Mac Jones had a crazy scrambling for 10 seconds out by the 50-yard line. Gets back to throw it in bounds, to throw it to Parker. Parker's halfway to the locker room. Parker's 5 yards out of bounds when he's doing this. I don't know how. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think Mac Jones top 5. Here's the funny thing. Patriots can still make the playoffs. They got 2 easy wins coming up. Against the Cardinals and the Raiders. And then you got 3 games left. You got Vikings, Bengals, Bills. Here's what the Patriots need. They need God to be their most valuable player. They need bad weather in these games. They literally need an act of God. If you play this Dolphins team in a rainy, snowy game, 15 degrees, they win. That's how they make the playoffs. 10 wins. Boom. That's 5 minutes, I think.
Wow, that is fantastic.
And it's actually 9 wins if they just beat the Dolphins, but Bengals snow game, 3-yard pass game. I don't know.
Wow, that was actually some of the best analysis, and that might be the best segment we've ever put out.
Yeah,
I mean that just the wow. I mean, I
agree
with a lot. The only downside
is that I spent too much time doing actual analysis and didn't get to flesh out my act of God sort of funny analogy I heard on the radio by Mike Felger, not sponsored. Unfortunately. I gotta give credit where
some dude is not sponsoring us.
No,
it's just some random guy.
I have to give credit because that whatever act of God thing I was trying to do, that's not mine. I didn't come up with that. Someone guy just said Mike Felger for local Boston Sports Radio. He said that, and I heard it on the air earlier tonight.
Shout out Mike.
There you go.
Whatever.
I don't know. Let's move on. Keep it going.
That was great. Yeah, that was fantastic. I don't know how I'm supposed to follow that up because that felt like that had pacing. I felt like it got better as we went. All right, so I'm gonna start here. I'm gonna start the timer.
Yeah. You have your own timer, so I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, I got it here. So listen, I'm wearing the jersey. All right, this is because I'm so hard on the Cowboys as a fan because I'm pessimistic. I've seen them be good. I've seen them be bad, but most of all, I've seen them be unprepared and undisciplined. And I'm actually not going to harp on that. Although I could say that in the first game possession of this Sunday night game against the Colts, they They go 3 and out, punt, and then a gunner straight up runs directly into a guy who was calling for the fair catch. He seemed to have been trying to pull back and was losing his balance, but it looked like live. He just ran 100 miles directly at him. And, I know that we texted to each other, classic Cowboys. There's nothing else to say. I expect nothing less at this point from this team. Meanwhile, Mike McCarthy is looking just like an idiot on the sideline, as always, has no idea what's going on. He's shocked, cannot believe that something like this could actually happen to the team that he coaches, that he's in charge of. But we won't get too much on that because I actually want to, that is a perfect transition that Mike McCarthy may be certainly one of the most disrespectful and disgraceful hires in recent history, except to maybe the head coach on the other side, Jeff Saturday. Yes, I am yielding the rest of my Cowboys time to talk about Jeff Saturday. Okay, Okay, so he came in and he beat the Raiders. All right, congrats. I'm happy for you. Okay, and he plays the Eagles tough. That's fine. Okay, but this guy was an offensive player, and I don't say he's an offensive coach because he wasn't a coach. He's not a coach. He's a coach right now, but he is not an offensive coach. He was an offensive player who became a head coach. Okay, and the whole idea was 2 things, right? He's going to get the offense together. Okay, and specifically the position he played, offensive line, and he's a leader of men. Okay, last night was a perfect example of him not doing either of those things. The best part of the Colts is the defense, and he's an offensive player. He's not even a coach. He's not even an offensive coach. He's just the head coach at this point. And a leader of men, I saw his team give up. I'm going to be completely honest. I mean, I know that they stayed in it for 2 or 3 quarters against a good Cowboys team. A good defense, certainly. But the offense of the Colts is still a complete mess. It was a mess with Frank Reich. Some will say, hey, it's because of Matt Ryan. It's because of X, Y, and Z, because the linemen are bad. Except we know on paper this team should be better with Frank Reich or with Jeff Saturday. Jeff Saturday is supposed to bring it all together and make it better. And look, we still got Matt Ryan looking terrible. Offensive line can't protect. They're not they should have gotten 180 yards against the Cowboys on the ground. The Cowboys are terrible against the run, and they didn't, right? Who do you point to? He was the guy who was supposed to come in here and make the offensive line better, and I haven't seen it. And then on top of that, the whole thing, regardless, he's a leader of men. Okay, he's a real smart guy. The team's gonna rally against him. Players love him. Okay, he's just the ultimate leader. And we got the 4th quarter. Defensively, guys are just not tackling. Tony Pollard just walking into the end zone, basically. On offense, they're just Matt Ryan just throwing it wherever. The line is basically having him get killed. He's fumbling the ball usually. He's got I think 25 fumbles and ints combined on the year or something. You can't say this was Jeff Saturday
30.
It wasn't Jeff Saturday's he didn't make this, but this is now his party. This is him. He's the leader. Mm-hmm. And my final thing, he's on the pregame show talking with I think Tony Dungy. And Tony Dungy asks him about the timeout thing. Hey, you didn't take that timeout late in that game last week, and you kind of fumbled the bag, and everybody's killing you for it. And he said he wasn't upset about the time management. He was upset that his guys weren't prepared for that situation, that he was upset that he hadn't practiced what he expected of them. He hadn't practiced with the team what he expected them to be able to do in a 2-minute drill. He's an offensive guy. I just don't understand it. I don't get it. And there you go. That is my time. 5 minutes, and it was 3.5 on Jeff Saturday and the Colts.
He didn't prepare them to play with the coach calling timeouts at horrible times or not calling timeouts when he should. That's what he was saying. I didn't prepare him for that.
Exactly. Just say that you don't know what you're doing. But that's the thing. It's all a farce. It's a complete farce.
Imagine that. But here's the thing with that game. Imagine, right? There's 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter. It's a 2-point game, I think. Even at 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter, I believe. And imagine you're there and you're saying, okay, this will be a close game. I got time to go shower, right? I'll go shower. It'll be 10 minutes, all said and done. I'll be back. There'll be like, I'll be back in time for there to be 4 minutes left. I'll get to see, I'll get to see the climax of this game. Maybe it goes to overtime. Imagine you're thinking, then you come back and it's like 4 minutes. I don't know what this was with 4 minutes left. But geez, that was 33. Was it offensive points in the fourth quarter?
Yep.
Jeez, is that?
There was a
really
defensive. There was a defensive fumble.
Oh, was it
yeah, return.
Oh, I see. I see. I shouldn't say offensive points. That's what I meant to say. Just points total.
Total points. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that
the 50 burger was really. You love to see it. You really do.
I mean,
so there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we got a couple. We got some time. Let's go into some of our open convo topics here.
Yeah. Let's. We talked about we mentioned Lamar.
We kind of talked about Jimmy G. Yeah.
And we talked about Jimmy G. Let's see. What do you think about this Baker being put on waivers right now? I mean, I know the Panthers are on like a fire sale, but this doesn't even feel like they're selling. I don't know.
This is they traded. I don't think they traded all that much in cap space. I mean, it's not like they were competing. They needed that cap. Like I don't think cap space. Who cares? But like for Baker. But I think they gave something. I don't think they got to just get a pick for taking Baker. But that. I mean, Yeah. I mean, there's a stat out there. Oh, geez, what's this? It's a devastating stat. It's a devastating stat for any Baker bros, any fellow Baker bros out there. I'm pulling this up. I'll have it in 1 second. Literally 1 second.
I'll fluff if you want. Go ahead.
Newly released quarterback Baker Mayfield has an 18.2 total QBR this season. That ranks 520th out of blank qualified QB seasons since the stat started being tracked in 2006. How many do you think are worse than this season? Like 520 out of what? Like how many do you think were worse? Have had a worse season than Baker?
In what year span?
I don't know what the game span is. I'm gonna try to pull that up, but it's since 2006. How many have been worse since 2006? I'm having trouble finding exactly what the qualification is.
520, 535 or something. I'm gonna guess.
No. Close, but it is. What's the minimum? I'm trying to find the minimum number of dropbacks. I wish I could. I don't know, but it is 521. There is one person worse who has had a worse QBR on the season. Huh? Yeah, I do. Do you want to guess? I know this isn't the stats question. What do you want?
We get some bonus stats questions here.
I don't know.
I have no idea who.
I don't even know him.
Then I probably won't. Know
he's 6'6", Jamarcus Russell. For the Raiders. Okay. This was it was in 2008, so it was slightly. I mean, obviously we were alive, but it's a bit before my time of knowing players on teams that are not my own. So,
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, just fun. Yeah, I mean, Baker has not looked very good. The question will be, will the 49ers take him? I can't think of another team that would bother. But because I know I saw talk about what if the Rams take him because they might want to hope Stafford comes back and they want to blah, blah, blah.
They should be in full tank at this point.
Or they just want to mess up. Because even though they don't have their own first, you still have your own second. You have your own third. Having a top second round pick it's not as good. You don't get the 5th-year option, blah, blah, blah. But it's still it's a lot better than a lot of other things. Yeah. And it's not like you're really going to compete. And the question would be, do they want to just mess with the 49ers because they think they want him? The thing is, it's cheap for these couple games for the season, potentially postseason. It would only be $1.3 million, I believe, for the 5 games and postseason.
So what is that? Because he's getting checks from Cleveland and Carolina.
I think because Cleveland's paying some of his salary. Because I think the waiver wire stuff is prorated. So it's he's already played most of the season. So whatever other team, the Panthers will pay most of his salary. But if he gets claimed, the other team has to pay the proportional remainder of whatever isn't being paid by the Browns or Panthers. So that's the thing. You could see a cheap backup. Could you see a team without Eagles have a great back? Sorry, hiccup. Like Gardner Minshew, the great backup. But if you're a team that doesn't have a good backup, if you're a team who's on their third string guy, like I could definitely see throwing a bone to him.
Yeah, you know, the way I see it is that Baker at best is a average starting quarterback in the league, and at worst
he has not been at his best.
and at worst he's a good backup. He's a good backup. Like,
yeah.
And right now San Fran, like they have seems like what you would probably say is probably not a very good third string guy. They don't even have a backup. So I would 100% try to take him off of waivers if somebody else doesn't. You're right. I could see the Rams just doing it to spite the 49ers, but man, that would be really dirty. So, yeah, I think that this wouldn't that be a crazy story arc for Baker? I mean, that would just be
Baker
wild.
wins a Super Bowl. Imagine if they take him and then they win the Super Bowl. That would be something that would be a story to remember, right?
Yeah,
there.
I mean that's like,
and
that's kind of like that's Nick Foles level. It's almost better than Nick Foles because it's like this guy. He's on his third team. He got waived by a second team. He's first round pick. He's a bust, and then wow, you know what I mean?
And he's active at their same year. He's actively out there, live TV, sucking, playing terribly. And then if he goes to the 49ers, they fix him. They can change him. They can make him work.
I bet they can. They make Purdy look pretty Purdy, if you know what I mean. So,
so are we going to the stats question or anything else, Jared?
Yeah, no, I think we just talk a little bit about another really interesting game was Cleveland Browns versus the Texans. We saw, everyone's favorite QB Deshaun Watson come back after an 11-game suspension for being a serial predator. And so he's back. The Cleveland fans seems like plenty are still in support and like the move. Wonder if they're going to be in support if he continues to play like this much dog shit moving forward. What do you think, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, this is I'm kind of shocked that against the consensus number 0 team in the league, the Houston Texans, that they were able to. They did not score any offensive touchdowns. They got 27 points without an offensive touchdown. It almost feels like you're trying at that point. I don't know what to say. I mean, they outgained the Texans like that, but it was close. Even that was close. They had who was it? They had Kyle Allen out there outperforming Deshaun Watson, had 70 more yards and a touchdown pass. I mean, yeah, that was obviously rusty game. You're going to kind of expect it. I really would have thought that this would have been, even with the rust, that it would have looked not like this against a team this bad, against a roster on the Browns that's pretty good. That's the whole reason they did the trade. They're like, oh, we, quarterback away. Like every team thinks they are, but like, I mean, this team, they have Amari Cooper. They have an amazing run game with Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. They have a pretty good offensive line. They have good defensive players. At least Myles Garrett. I don't know. I would have wanted more. If I was a Deshaun Watson fan, I definitely would have wanted more. Even out of your first game in 2 years. I mean, yeah. I mean, what do you think about? I mean, after this, their schedule looks pretty tough. I'll read it out just because I pulled it up earlier. But they played the Ravens, they played the Bengals, they play the Bengals and the Ravens, they play the Saints, they play the Commanders, they play the Steelers. There's some not bad teams there, but I think the Steelers are a hard matchup with that defense.
Yeah.
The Commanders are a hard matchup. The Bengals are a hard matchup. The Ravens, even with their backup, I'd say that's a hard matchup.
Yeah.
You got the Saints in there. That's a pretty easy matchup, but it's a lot harder than the Texans. I mean, that's a hard schedule, and I know that's they didn't trade for Watson for this year, but I'm still like, hope. I mean, like it must be rough if they don't even see anything this year. If they don't see a flash that they were like, hey, this is our guy, we found our guy, let's trade all the picks for this guy. if like I could see this being a pretty hard schedule, really not getting to see anything too much more inspiring than this 50% completion rate, 100-yard, 130-yard interception, no touchdown, sort of performance.
Yeah, no, I mean, I said last week when you tried to catch me off guard during the pin setter with a Deshaun Watson hot take question. And I said, he's not going to look good. The dude hasn't played in multiple years. He hasn't practiced since until a week or two ago with this team. He's not going to look good, and he's going to continue to not look good. And what this is going to do is this is going to make the Denver Broncos front office and ownership really, really content with their big trade in the offseason because, first of all, at least Russell Wilson, you're paying him to play. He's playing terrible, but at least he's playing. This guy, you're literally paying him not to play for two-thirds of the season, and then he's going to come in and he's going to look bad.
Put him set, yeah.
And character-wise, I mean, all you can say about Russell Wilson is the dude's too corny. That's the biggest problem with Russell Wilson is he's a little bit too corny. He's a little bit too much.
He's a bit robotic.
Yeah, there's nothing compared to Deshaun Watson. I mean, are you kidding me? So it's just I think that the Walmart family there they're going to say, you know what, we could be in a worse spot right now. But only the dumpster fire of an organization, the Browns, would do something like this. And I hope they continue to pay for it moving forward. And I hope that, unfortunately, maybe actually I don't care about the fan base for some of the stuff I've seen from this weekend. But you know what? If Deshaun Watson is terrible for the rest of his career, honestly, I'd be happy to see it. I really would.
Happy for the. Think of those first round picks for the Texans though.
I know. Ooh. It's all working out like that. Everyone who traded for picks, man.
I can't wait. The 3rd, 4th, and 6th picks in the draft are not to their original owners. The Seahawks have the 3rd from Denver. The Lions have the 4th from the Rams. The Eagles have the 6th from the Saints. I can't wait for the draft episode. I know we're derailing because we're about to get to the stats question, but I mean, yeah, I can't wait till we get to start doing free agency analysis, draft pick analysis, our own little not mock drafts by player because neither of us are that into college football. But
you are that good, Jack. All right, listen, you're gonna be our guy. All right. No, yes, you have to be. I
don't know players.
You do.
I know the top players in the mock drafts. I'll know that. I won't know. I'm gonna go back, but what I mean is, I can't wait to say, you know what? Whatever happens the rest of the season, who do the Cowboys take with their first pick? Let's say the Cowboys will have the 20th pick. I'm just picking on. I don't know what they'd actually have to 23rd, whatever. They have that pick. What do they take? Obviously, it depends a bit what's available, but what is their biggest need? That's the sort of thing I can't wait to deliver on. Can't really do that till the off season and free agency and. Blah blah blah. But
Jack P's POC draft.
that's the POC draft. Okay. Let's move stats question time. Do you have a stat?
I do, but you're gonna go first. I believe that.
I'll go first.
I'm up 4.5 to 3 on the season here, so
I'll go first. I'm giving you. I mean, it may or may not be easy. Really, I'm gonna assume you don't have anything pulled up. It's a much more straightforward question. I know I've been known to ask some whackers. It's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
Of the quarterbacks, no, I'm already delivering it poorly. No, which quarterback who is not currently in the playoffs, so not currently in the playoffs, has the most passing yards this season?
Okay, so
I'm gonna go. There's a number. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go
a number of quarterbacks.
I'm gonna go off the top of my head of QBs with the most passing yards. Right. I think Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow has got to be up there. Geno Smith has got to be up there. And there's two that also should be up there, and I don't know which one's higher. One of them is Jared Goff, and one of them I really think one of them is Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan has, even though he's missed some games, he has a ridiculous amount of pass yards. I mean, he's got a ridiculous amount of interceptions too. But yeah, when I think, and Jalen Hurts is probably up there. So
no, Jalen Hurts is in the playoffs.
Right, and he's in the playoffs, right?
So I see what you mean. Yeah, you're just
I'm naming like players with a lot of pass yards. So like I think I'm gonna have to go with Jared Goff because like they have a really good offense and they're not in it. So I'm gonna go with Jared Goff. Final answer.
Yeah, that is unfortunately not correct.
Oh, geez.
It is the second. Has the second most of someone not in the playoffs. Just under Brady, who obviously is in the playoffs, but just barely. The correct answer, and what I was surprised you didn't even say his name because you're this much of a hater,
is Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert.
Oh my God.
He has the fourth most. He actually has more than Geno Smith. Geno Smith is fifth in passing yards. It's Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Herbert, Smith, Brady, and then Goff, and then surprisingly Derek Carr.
Yeah.
Is what is that, seventh in passing yards, eighth in passing yards. Matt Ryan is 11th. He has missed games, like you said. This is not yards per game. I would be curious about that, but like I know Matt Ryan has a lot for not playing a couple games, but yeah, definitely.
I should have known that. I really should have. And but yeah, I am a hater because I want you to call me when like he's above 500. Can we maybe talk when Justin Herbert can get some W's?
They were 500, above 500. Until they just lost to the Raiders.
Yeah.
Now they're 500.
Yeah. Yep. Classic Chargers. I can't believe I took them as my last wild card spot at
and
mid-season.
Not the Patriots, I know.
No, not the Bengals. Patriots, get the hell out of here. Okay.
Here you go. I'm ready.
We also have a QB passing yard question for you.
Oh, okay.
So
well,
close all your stats.
It's now closed.
Which QB this week, so we're talking about this week alone, who played more than a quarter, who took snaps during more than one quarter of the game, had the least amount of passing yards. So we're talking about it was like a minimum maybe 10 passes. So like not Jimmy G. Jimmy G only had a couple of passes.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Not, Gardner Minshew had like two passes.
Right. None of that stuff. Like basically a QB who played the game, who had the least amount of passing yards.
Well, I mean, you almost have to go with the classic, which we almost have to go with the classic. I don't think I will. Not going to tell you what the classic is yet. But you can guess. I'm sure those at home can
guess. Mac Jones?
No. That's what I was thinking. Oh, maybe you're asking this as some sort of power move where even if I get it, it's because the answer is Mac Jones. Yeah, but I don't think it was that terrible. Pure, even if only off the back of that 40-something yard touchdown run by their nickelback, Marcus Jones. Even if only the yards off of that carrying them forwards. So I don't think it's Mac Jones. Trying to think of other low, like not much offense teams. I have to think. Deshaun Watson's like 100. That was like 112 yards or something. I know because we were just talking about that. Did someone who threw for less? Could there be someone who threw for less than 112? I think even the stinky Broncos, for all their stinkiness and low scoring, surely Russ threw for more than 113, right? Surely. I'm gonna go with Deshaun Watson.
All right.
That is my final answer. I'm not gonna go Russ.
Reluctantly, you go with Deshaun Watson, and that is the correct answer. We really led right into this stats question. That's why I wanted you to go first.
It was too,
to get some time between it.
Get out of my mind. How much did I? Well, now I got to check how much Russ threw for Broncos.
I know that Dak only threw for 170 in this 50 burger win because they had so many points off turnovers. And I think who else was low down there? I don't remember.
Russ at 189. 189. That's not terrible. There's yards in here. This is the classic breakdown of the episode. Yards in week 13. If you're listening at this point, then you'll just listen to anything.
You're a true fan. Wow.
Hey, it's a joke. It's a joke because I'm trying to look. Mike White had the second most yards.
Yeah, he had
this week.
He had like 360 or something, right?
Yeah.
Behind
369 even behind Jalen. But sorry, what were you saying?
No, I was just saying that true fan or the true fans will listen to anything. I think that's the case. But
wait a second. Oh, because the game is still going. I went to check and I was like, wait, Brady's number 20. Like Brady's down here, but it's because the game is going on right now, so stats are coming in. But yeah, Deshaun Tannehill had 141. He was the next. Oh yeah. And the Falcons are still trotting out Mariota. Oh jeez, but
I thought you were gonna go with
never seen a dude miss a wide open receiver the way Mariota does sometimes.
Yeah,
Kyle he refuses. Ball's just like. Kyle Pitts will be like this, and the ball will just go who knows where, but no, that's its own thing. Yeah.
All right, well, that's a good stats question. You have 4 points to my 4.5, so it's a big swing here now. It's
big swing.
We're racing to the end of the season here, and now you've just closed the gap, so it's really anybody's game in the stats question. We want to thank you for joining us. If you're here still, thank you for watching or listening. Make sure that you follow or subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. We do short clips of the podcast as well every week, as well as the full video podcast. Please like and subscribe. Comment if you are so inclined. It really helps us with our alg and with the audience. So anything else, Jack?
Yeah. No. I mean, we definitely encourage comments. We'll always respond to those, or at least whether it's literally respond in the comment or just kind of address it through the episode. Definitely something I know we enjoy doing. Glad we got to loop in that comment about the Dolphins being the Giants of the AFC. But yeah,
definitely.
I mean, don't have too much else.
Yeah. All right. Well, then you guys know this was episode 2022 of 710 Sports with
Jack
and Jared. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week. Have a good one.